A transformation in global influence is taking place. For the better part of the 20th century, the globe was frozen by the standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. But as the echoes of that Cold War fade, a new chill is setting in. The United States, which has maintained its position as the world's leading superpower for generations, now confronts a formidable rival. China has emerged with extraordinary economic power, cutting-edge technological aspirations, and an expanding military footprint. The competition between these two nations now spans multiple dimensions, from international trade networks and manufacturing hubs to the final frontier of outer space. Are we witnessing the dawn of a second Cold War? To grasp where we are today, we need to look back. For close to 40 years, Washington and Beijing pursued a relationship built on pragmatism. China dismantled barriers to its markets, and America welcomed the opportunity. Embracing affordable goods, expanded commerce, and the promise of economic partnership. On the surface, this arrangement appeared solid, reliable, a win-win scenario. Yet, underneath, China's meteoric rise, fueled by manufacturing prowess, technological innovation, and a massive workforce, was quietly altering the world order. As production facilities multiplied and Chinese goods flooded international markets, Beijing accumulated more than just wealth. It acquired diplomatic leverage, strategic assertiveness, and a foothold on the world stage. What started as partnership gradually shifted toward contest, and that contest is now hardening into confrontation. Back in the Cold War, superpowers measured their strength in nuclear warheads. Today, that dominance is measured in processors. These tiny silicon chips are the heartbeat of everything that matters: artificial intelligence, quantum computing, aerospace, and the next generation of weapons. Right now, the United States and its allies hold the keys to the world's most advanced chip-making labs. And despite pouring massive amounts of money into the industry, China is hitting a hard technological ceiling. This gap has turned into a major strategic vulnerability, triggering a wave of bans, trade wars, and an invisible silicon curtain that is cutting off access to the world's most critical hardware. AI isn't just science fiction anymore. It is already running our banks, our hospitals, our military defenses, and international diplomacy. Both superpowers know exactly what's at stake. Whoever masters AI first gets to write the rules for the next 100 years. We are looking at a complete reshape of global power, from war games and global surveillance to autonomous drone swarms and digital warfare. Unlike the arms races of the past, this war never sleeps. It's a 24/7 battle fought in the digital trenches, defined by lines of code, massive data centers, and raw computational logic. Forget the hot zones you usually hear about. Right here on this map is one of the most volatile and economically critical places on Earth, the South China Sea. This isn't just water. This is the planet's busiest maritime highway, the central artery that pumps trillions of dollars in global trade. It is the absolute lifeline for every major economy in Asia, yet it is a map fractured by overlapping claims and military rivalry. Why the danger? The equation is simple. China sees these waters as a defensive moat, the essential pathway for their national security and growing regional influence. They view it as their sovereign territory. But the United States has a fundamentally different view. They see freedom of navigation here as non-negotiable. the foundation for global stability and open trade. This clash of doctrines creates a dangerous zero-sum game. Two superpowers, two opposing worldviews, sharing the same tight stretch of ocean. The reality is, the margin for error has vanished. In these congested waters, a collision, whether it's an accident or a deliberate move, could quickly trigger a geopolitical crisis that neither side ultimately wants, but neither side can afford to back down from. Taiwan represents the greatest flashpoint in the relationship between the United States and China. It is a self-ruling democracy, fundamentally important due to its geography and houses the planet's foremost semiconductor manufacturing facilities. For Beijing, Taiwan is unresolved history, an issue deeply connected to national unification and identity. For Washington, Taiwan serves as a crucial component in the worldwide supply chain for microchips and stands as a beacon of democratic values in the Pacific region. Any military action against Taiwan would compel the US to make a choice that would generate global repercussions. In Africa, China is reshaping the physical landscape, pouring concrete for new highways, deep water ports, and massive power stations. The US counters with a different playbook, focusing on strengthening security alliances and funding long-term development. In Latin America, Beijing is securing the future, investing heavily in the region's energy grids, critical mining, and digital infrastructure. Washington responds by leveraging history, moving to reinforce its deep-rooted traditional ties across the hemisphere. And across the vast Pacific, island nations are walking a geopolitical tightrope. They balance carefully between cooperation and caution, desperate to avoid becoming the staging grounds for a great power rivalry. Deep in the heart of the Eurasian continent, a new great game is unfolding. This is Central Asia, a region rich in critical minerals and strategically located at the crossroads of East and West. For China, this is the backbone of the Belt and Road. Beijing is paving the ancient Silk Road with steel and concrete, building railways, pipelines, and digital surveillance networks to bind the region to its economy. The United States plays a subtler but vital hand. Washington is betting on sovereignty, offering security partnerships and investment in rare earth minerals to give these nations an alternative to total dependence. Caught between the Russian bear, the Chinese dragon, and American promises, Central Asian leaders are playing a dangerous balancing act, fighting to remain masters of their own destiny. Look closely at the image on your screen. You see the symbolic split? The American eagle confronting the Chinese dragon across a fractured world map. The history books tell us the First Cold War was a deadly clash of ideologies, communism versus capitalism. But the conflict brewing today? It's something entirely different. It's a ruthless clash of technologies, a battle for global economic dominance, and a war waged via supply chain strategy. There are no iron curtains rising across continents, no chilling nuclear standoffs reminiscent of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The struggle is invisible, unfolding deep inside data centers, across fiber optic cables, and along with every vulnerable link in a global supply chain and digital infrastructure. It is a new era of tension, quiet, profoundly complex, and literally everywhere at once. So, where do we get from here? As the pressure builds and the world shifts, we face three clear, very different futures. Scenario Alpha, the divided world or a new Cold War. The bleakest path is a total breakdown. We retreat, segmenting the entire planet back into distinct, mutually suspicious, economic, and digital blocks. It's a world defined by the forceful separation of rivals. Technology is fractured, trade is strangled, and cooperation simply ceases to exist. This is the hard division. Scenario Beta: tense engagement or managed rivalry. Perhaps there's a middle ground: tense engagement. The fundamental rivalry doesn't end, it simply gets managed. Competition remains constant. The tension never truly leaves the room, but carefully maintained rules of the road are put in place. Boundaries designed specifically to prevent the whole thing from boiling over into a direct, catastrophic confrontation. Scenario Gamma: the common cause or strategic cooperation. Finally, the most optimistic path. It would require an existential, shared threat, a crisis so large it forces everyone to the same table. The old powers must set aside their differences, their ideology, their grudges, to forge crucial, if tenuous, partnerships. A shared enemy, illuminated by the soft light of necessity, forces global collaboration. Three distinct roads. One choice determines the trajectory of the 21st century. The final chapter is still being written. The choice is ours: a divisive new Cold War or an alternative path. The decisions made at this moment will dictate our future. To explore more AI narratives on the future of geopolitics, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and contribute to the discussion below.